In this series, we take you on a culinary ramble through the wild foods of Britain. We'll show you how to identify them, prepare some delicious dishes that'll hardly cost you a penny, turning a stroll in the countryside into an exciting gastronomic outing. Welcome to the Forager's Field Guide.
It's high summer, July, and the countryside is absolutely at its peak now, full and rich. And I'm off to the Forest of Dean, which is great because I've never been there before.
Christopher, my foraging guru, lives down there.
Tells me it's an absolute haven for unusual plants and herbs and maybe even some early fruits. Well, so he tells me anyway. Christopher.
Hello, Matthew.
Great to see you. On such a glorious day.
Welcome to the forest.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I must say, what a panorama.
Isn't it beautiful? Midsummer in England, isn't it beautiful?
It is.
Wonderful.
But are we looking for anything in particular?
Well, we're going to be looking for, I hope we're going to find, nice culinary flavouring herbs today, and some of which will be medicinal, but lovely flavouring herbs.
Well, I've got my trusty trug, so where do we start?
Matthew, we could start right here beside us. Look, what do you think this is?
That's thyme, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, wild thyme. Isn't that lovely? You normally see it, or expect to find it, in the Mediterranean, but it's very, very typically found in this dry heathland. You don't find it on the ground, you find it up where it's well drained, just in the Mediterranean.
Yeah. Well, you can see why it's one of the sort of primary culinary herbs. I mean, it goes with so many things, and it has this just wonderful smell, perfume, and it's beautiful flower too, isn't it?
It's quite amazing, isn't it? These tiny leaves pack all this oil and this aroma. They're just magical plants.
So we're careful not to pick the roots here.
No, if we just, it's like having a haircut. We can take the top off, little pieces like that, little branches, leaves and flowers, leave the root and it'll reshoot and stay there for years, hopefully.
Right, well, I reckon we've got enough there to be going on with.
Right, well, let's set off down into the forest and see what we can find. So,
lead on.
Yeah. You can see out here we've got hamlets.
As we set off, Christopher reminded me of some basic foraging rules. First, always ask the landowner's permission before foraging and make sure you know what you're gathering. Take a good field guide with you to help identify plants, and if you're at all uncertain, don't risk it. Find safe sites to forage away from roads or other sources of pollution, and only gather small quantities of each species so plants can grow back again.
Summer days like today, almost anything looks as if it might be edible, but is it?
Well, lots of plants here, masses of them, aren't there? Lots of them are edible, but in fact they're very disappointing. You know, burdock here is lovely and delicious, but I mean many things just aren't worth the bother really. And oh, look at this. This is a good example. You know what this is?
I haven't a clue.
Very beautiful plant. It's wild basil.
It doesn't look like basil.
Not at all like basil. And in fact, if you eat it, it's one of these plants that has no interest in it at all, no flavour.
It certainly doesn't have the wow factor, but is it like the basil that we know and love?
No, it's no relation at all. I'm not quite sure why it's given that name, but it used to be used as a food, and you can do, it does taste, but you wouldn't choose it.
Well, I think I'll keep the stuff I'm growing already.
Yeah, we want to enjoy our eating.
It's a nice opening.
It's a lovely big clearing, isn't it? A lot of dry, we'll find a lot of interesting things. Oh, look. Do you know this one? Look.
What's that?
That's tansy.
Ah, tansy pie.
Absolutely, smell that.
God, it's amazingly aromatic,
It's
isn't
very
it?
aromatic. They use a lot in omelettes as well, don't they?
It's almost vanilla-y.
Oh, we'll take some of that with us.
Great. Never know what you're going to come up with next.
Many plants love this low fertile, dry environment. Think of thyme in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, that's true.
They grow specifically in dry soil. In fact, here they die in a composted garden, which was all very wet. Oh, look.
Oh, yeah.
This.
Don't recognise that.
Try tasting the leaf of that.
Nice and chewy.
Yeah, what's it? Any flavour? This is verbena.
It's pretty bitter.
It's not the lemon verbena, which is a shrub, but it's vervain. Ring a bell?
Oh, very fashionable, yes.
Yeah, it's probably the most consumed herbal tea on the continent.
Yeah.
And you can buy it here and you can drink it here. It's slightly bitter with a nice flavour, but the reason people like it is it's particularly relaxing. And it's a very nice plant, and you take the leaves and the stem and the flowers, and you can use them fresh, or you can dry it down and just crush it up and make it like your breakfast cup of tea.
Oh, right.
But very pretty plant as well. And the
No,
whole
it is
thing.
actually. I love the spikes. They're really, and it's a very delicate. But actually, now I come to think of it, I see over there something which even I think I recognise, and I think the flavour goes down a little bit easier. That's mint, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right, it is mint. This is corn mint, and if you have a look at the leaf, it's slightly different from the garden mint, which is long and thin, very smooth and shiny and hairless.
This is furry, isn't it?
This is very furry.
And quite thick texture.
Yeah, what's it taste like?
Tastes of mint.
Just mint?
Well, no, I mean, there are, slightly different from mint than the one I'm familiar with.
All of the mints, that's why they're very exciting to forage. All of the mints have slightly different flavours, and so you can use those to have different experiences, and they're quite strong flavours, aren't they?
Yes, I know. Well, it's one of the great culinary herbs. It's mint sauce, of course, in this country, but I know all over the Mediterranean, and particularly North Africa, you find it cropping up in all sorts of different dishes. So, how many different varieties of mint actually are there?
There's probably about 8 identifiable, main identifiable ones in Britain, but they all interbreed, terribly promiscuous and hybridise, and so a lot of them are sort of crosses between one and the other. But this is a lovely one, so shall we take some with us?
Yeah, let's take a couple of...
Let's get some to take. And how many do you want?
Oh, a couple should do, actually.
So, right,
yeah, one for luck.
Right,
Okay.
let's see if we can find some more.
Great.
I was surprised by the variety of wild foods growing in the forest. Further along the track we came across marjoram, raspberries, and a special favourite of mine, wild strawberries. We ended up at an old mill pond, a lush oasis for wildlife and plants, including another type of mint.
Botanical violence, it's lovely. Oh look, here we go, look. Now this is not actually water mint, isn't it? Because it looks half water mint and almost half like our corn mint.
Yes.
So,
I also think water mint is a bit darker, isn't it, normally?
and not furry, it's quite smooth water mint, isn't it?
So it's got a lovely minty smell, very, very fresh and clean.
Yeah, let's take some with us for our...
Yeah, so I've got a very good idea, I think, for an absolutely wonderful summer dish. So if you'd bung in a few more in there. Well, actually, just one more.
One more?
Yeah,
right.
one for luck. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, well, we've got a wonderful summery dish for a wonderful summery day. It's tzatziki, you might know it like that, or kachik if you're from Turkey. It's a sort of dish that you find all the way around the Mediterranean, and it's sort of, I think it's sort of wonderful antidote to too much heat and too much sunshine. Anyway, it consists of cucumber, which I've peeled and chopped and sprinkled with a bit of salt earlier, just to draw off the liquid and give it a bit more body to it. Some beautiful, thick Greek yogurt there. Some garlic. What Mediterranean dish would be complete without garlic, but not too much of it, just to give it a bit of a kick, and the mint that we picked earlier. What I'll do is I'll start off by chopping the garlic. You don't want too much garlic, really, because all it's designed to do is add a bit of substance, a bit of oomph, and it sort of goes very well with the blandness of the yogurt. Now, I'm going to put in a little bit of salt here. And because when you mash it, and this has to be, now it's been chopped, it needs to be mashed, the salt helps to sort of bring out all the essential oils and the flavour of the garlic itself. It's not something you do just in a couple of seconds, but it's turning into a lovely, I can smell it, nice mulch. Okay, now I think that's about ready. Now I shall scrape that into the yoghurt. There we go, and then I'll give that a bit of a stir to make sure it's well mixed in. What next? Oh yes, I think the mint. I tell you, this is very easy. Now you have to strip off the leaves from the mint. You don't want the stalks at all, just the leaves, because they're where all the flavour is concentrated. Beautiful fresh green leaves. They smell wonderfully minty too. Chop the mint leaves. Chop them quite finely. Again, rather like the garlic, you don't want a whole lump of mint getting stuck in your teeth. It'll spoil your smile at the end of this absolutely delicious dish. Now that goes into the yogurt as well. And the last stage in the operation is to put in the cucumber. I've poured off some of the liquid the salt has actually drawn out of it, because you don't want that to spoil the flavour of the tzatziki. There we go, and I scrape that in like that, and once again we get to do a bit more, just stirring it in. Right, I think tzatziki is now ready, so we'll transfer it to a bowl that is, I think, suitable for its presentation. All those flavours will have just all mixed together and be lovely fresh. Oh, hello, Christopher.
Greetings.
There's my tzatziki. What do you reckon?
That looks stunning, doesn't it? What amazing colours.
Let me give you just a touch to try and see what you think. What do you reckon?
I love that minty taste. This mint is so different from spearmint you get in the kitchen or the shops. No, that's so lovely.
Quite different, and I think that it sort of speaks for itself in spite of having the garlic in there.
Yeah, the garlic's lovely. You can really tang it, but it doesn't overwhelm. I hate this sort of dish when garlic is all you get in the mouth.
I'm going to head back to the kitchen and see what inspiration leaps into my mind as a result of the things we found. What are you going to be doing?
I'm going to wander off and find some medicinal herbs to introduce you to from the forest.
What to cure the indigestion, which may result of eating too much of this.
No. But meanwhile, I'm not going to leave this. So
okay.
Some more.
Have a second helping.
Herbs have been used throughout history to treat common ailments, but it was the medieval monks at the great monastic centres such as Tintern Abbey who had both the time and the learning to produce the illustrated herbal texts we so admire. And many of the herbs they used can still be found growing in the surrounding countryside. This may look like an ordinary forest track, but to a plant lover, we're surrounded by a myriad of interesting plants, medicinal plants. Many have curious names which gives us an idea of their use, and others have just a fascinating history. This is a very beautiful plant. This is agrimony, otherwise known as church steeples, for these lovely spikes which have yellow flowers on most of the time. Now they've got these little bell-shaped seeds. And it's traditional medicine for stomach inflammation, particularly childhood diarrhea. Oh, this beautiful, beautiful white flower. Look at that. This is yarrow, very easily recognised by the distinct white flower, but particularly these very finely divided leaves. The scientific name is Achillea millifolium, means 1,000 leaves, and that's the part that we use. Traditionally, they would have used one of those leaves up the nose to stop nosebleeds, but in mainstream medicine, we harvest the leaves and it's used to treat circulation problems like varicose veins. This is St. John's wort, which is a particularly interesting plant because it's a subject of many recent clinical trials which have established its efficiency as an antidepressant, which is good news because a lot of the antidepressants that are used in drug form are having very unpleasant side effects. This one doesn't. It's a very beautiful plant. And one of the reasons it's called St. John's wort, we think, is that if you get this beautiful yellow flower bud and if you crush it in your fingers, you see this lovely red blood of John the Baptist, which is an anthocyanin pigment, so don't be too frightened.
This is that wonderful collection of herbs that Christopher and I picked earlier, the marjoram and the wild thyme, and I'm going to use those to make a wonderful summer dish of chicken breast with a herb crust, which also involves some breadcrumbs, some butter, lemon juice, a tiny little bit of pepper, and the base of the dish, which are these big, lovely, fat, plump, organic chicken breasts. Now I shall start by stripping some of the leaves off the marjoram, just like this. Don't need the stalk, but it's the lovely fragrant leaves that we're going to use for this dish until we've got plenty of those. Now, the next stage is to chop up the marjoram leaves, which I'm going to do with one of my favourite kitchen implements, which is called a mezzaluna, as the Italians like to call it. Get the most wonderful perfume of the marjoram just wafting up Anyway, I should think that's about right, and so I'm going to scrape those into the bowl with the breadcrumbs and the thyme leaves. Actually, I think possibly we need a few more thyme leaves in there just to bring up the smell, bring up the flavour, and make sure there's sort of equal balance between the two herbs. You don't really want one to dominate more than the other one. Okay, let's just mix those herbs and the breadcrumbs together nice and thoroughly. There we go. Then it's just a matter of putting in the butter. So I haven't been tremendously accurate about the butter here. I think, it depends on how much you like. I like quite a bit because I think it adds flavour and also just feels nice. Just use an ordinary old kitchen fork to mash all the ingredients together until they're sort of quite coagulated, quite solid mass. And then some lemon juice, because lemon helps to bring out the flavour of the herbs. It also adds a little bit of liquid in there and helps to flavour the chicken. It's just another layer of flavour. So stir that in, make sure that's very well mixed. Okay, I think that's all a fine herbal breadcrumb crust ready to go on top of the chicken breast. Oh, mustn't forget the old pepper. It's a turn or two of pepper. Again, it just helps to bring a sort of another edge of flavour to the dish. Right, now I think we're ready to coat the chicken breasts. And you just pat it down, make sure it's stuck well to the surface like that. Make sure that both of them are, have a good thick thatch of the crust. Right, well, I think we're just about ready to pop that into the oven for, 15-20 minutes, so that the crust is nice and crusty, but the chicken underneath is moist and sweet and succulent and delicious and flavoured with all the herbs.
If you've got any herbs left over, why not use them for flavouring oils? Simply drop some sprigs, leaves and flowers into a bottle or glass container and add extra virgin olive oil or cider vinegar. Seal and leave for a few days to let the aromatic oils infuse. They add colour to your kitchen and they're a great way to flavour salad dressings or spice up a marinade.
Christopher?
Hello, Matthew.
The man from Interflora.
Not quite from Interflora, no.
What have you got there?
Man from the herbal dispensary. I've been collecting medicinal herbs, and these are very interesting mainstream medicines.
Yep.
Most of them are used today in my or other herbalist clinics, and we've got wonderful things in here. We've got mugwort, and there's St. John's wort, which you probably know. It's very popular for depression. And this beautiful daisy family is feverfew, which is very famous for use in migraines.
I know that one.
And this lovely plant here is tansy, with another daisy family, which the leaves of which are used for children's intestinal worms, threadworms and so on. And we've got wild lettuce, lemon balm.
Hang on. Well, these don't look to me like things which you've just picked from the hedgerow. What are these?
Well, I thought I'd show you how we use them a bit.
Yeah.
We've got some herbal teas I'm going to make for you a bit later.
Right.
But a useful way they used to do preparations for herbal drugs to put on the skin would be to make an infused oil. They used to use dripping or lard. What I've done here is got some of our St. John's wort, and I'm infusing it in sunflower oil. So all the medicinal properties will come into the sunflower oil.
I see.
And we will then set that with beeswax.
Oh, I wonder what that was.
And the reason is that if you put oil on your skin, it's very dribbly and sticky, but we're going to convert it into an ointment. And it sets it very simply, and you can do it in your own kitchen at home. So it's a lovely thing to be able to
We can do it here now?
We can do it here, yeah. Show me a saucepan.
Okay. There's a saucepan.
Excellent.
For you.
And what we're going to do, I've brought in some pre-infused oil I use in the clinic, same stuff I make, and we're going to show you how to do it. And the way we do it is we simply pour this. Now look at this beautiful colour.
Oh, it's the most amazing colour, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful.
But what's interesting, you see the colour of the flowers, which are yellow.
Yeah.
And what happens when you infuse it, there are pigments in there, anthocyanin pigments, which are masked by the yellow and the green of the leaves and the flowers, and that's all the medicinal properties being absorbed into the oil. But you can't put that on your skin now because it's just dribbly and messy. So we're going to set it with this beeswax. So if you pop that on the flame.
Okay. Put that on there, and
Well, that's nearly done.
ready to go now?
And yes, ready to go. Now all we need to do is pour that into these jars, and you can see that lovely colour, and immediately it hits the side of the jar, it'll actually start to solidify because it's cool. And I'll just pop the lids on these, which will keep them from being contaminated.
While they're still warm?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It'll help stop anything falling on it being affected. I'll just take all this away now.
Okay, I'll clear this away if you don't mind, because I want to get the decks ready for action for my chicken masterpiece. Oh, I think they're just absolutely ready to go. So, put that down there. Yes, nice and crusty on top, slightly crunchy. Now, just a bit of dressing, oil that we've been infusing the marjoram with so that the flavours complement one another, and some final decorations, some of the flowers from the marjoram and thyme if you've got them. And there it is, chicken with thyme and marjoram crust. Well, here we are, Christopher. Chicken breast with a thyme and marjoram crust. There we go.
Looks very good.
It looks
been very busy.
pretty, and I like to think that your
doesn't it?
your hard work has been put to some good use.
I didn't catch the chicken.
But you picked all the herbs.
That's very interesting.
I'm very grateful.
It's very crunchy crust, it's lovely. And you can really taste those herbs. And the other thing I love is it's slightly oily, so it stops that chicken breast being too dry. That's delicious.
Now, what's in this?
This is looks like wine. It's better than wine. This is our infusion, our tea, and we've got some vervain, nice bitter, help digest, and there's a bit of meadowsweet, which is a very good stomach herb, but also just a bit of zing, and some melissa, some lemon balm, a little lemony tang.
Okay.
So, like a good Italian white wine.
Well, curiously enough, it does have a slightly bitter flavour, which you do find in some Italian wines, and you can feel it purifying the inner man.
The stomach's working better, the liver's firing away, ready for this chicken.
And
That's
the
good.
eyes are sparkling with pleasure.
Yes, that's the melissa, the lemon balm. Isn't that one? Oh, I like this.
Join us next time when we'll be hunting for late summer fruits and berries in the hedgerows and orchards of the Severn Vale.